She's not afraid of muscles. She's not afraid of success. She's afraid of a man she can't manipulate. A man who doesn't overreact, who doesn't chase, who doesn't bend just to keep the peace. She's afraid of a man who sees the emotional game and plays it better than she does, not out of spite, but out of power. This video is not about becoming cold or cruel. It's about becoming emotionally disciplined, strategically grounded, the kind of man who isn't shaken, baited, or broken by emotional chaos. Because when emotional intelligence meets masculine calm, it becomes dangerous, rare, and unforgettable. Let's break down the 6 traits of the emotionally dominant man. Miss 1, she'll run the frame, master all, and you'll change how every woman experiences you. Let's get to work. Trait 1. You recognize the game without playing it. Here's the first power shift. You don't react to emotional games. You recognize them. You're in a relationship. She starts pulling back affection, becomes distant. Her tone shifts. Her body language tightens. She's testing. Most men fall into 2 traps. They chase or they shut down. One begs, the other punishes. But you pause, you observe, and you respond, not from fear, but from clarity. This is the first move that separates average from dominant. You're not here to prove yourself. You're here to see clearly. She wants to know, can you be pulled emotionally? Will you dance to her tension? And when she finds out you won't, she's thrown off, not because it's cruel, but because it's powerful. You don't match her chaos. You stay centered. Machiavelli said it best. He who masters himself is harder to conquer than a city. In a world of emotionally triggered men, you are calm, still, unshakable, and that scares her. Not because you're dangerous to her, but because you're not owned by her. Trait 2. You don't beg for validation. You choose yourself. Most men are starving for validation. Starving for approval. Starving to be seen. But the emotionally dominant man isn't starving. He's full. Trait 3. You can read her, but you don't try to control her. This one is deadly. You see her without needing to own her. She's used to emotional dominance, used to using moods as weapons, silence as leverage, drama as control. But you read her energy without trying to rearrange it. She's quiet, cold, short with her words. You ask once, gently, "Is something on your mind?" She says no. Most men push again, or get frustrated and mirror her coldness. You nod. You leave space. You observe. You wait. Because you know the storm isn't personal. It's projection. And when she's ready, you revisit without judgment. That kind of calm, emotional awareness, it disarms her because she realizes she can't bait you, she can't dominate you with emotional confusion, and suddenly, she's not leading the dance anymore. You are. You've replaced tension with transparency, confusion with clarity, control with calm. And to a woman used to emotional chaos, that calm is terrifying, but addictive, because for the first time, she's not playing against a boy. She's being led by a man. Trait 4. You handle conflict with precision, not volume. Here's where most men lose their power. Conflict hits, and they explode. Raise their voice, defend, over-explain, beg to be understood. Not you. She raises her tone. You lower yours. She throws accusations. You ask questions. You lead the tone. You pause before responding. You don't react. You analyze. This shakes her because she's used to escalation. She's used to emotional heat. But you're the cold flame, the still fire. You don't need drama to feel alive. You lead with your emotional intelligence, not your insecurity. And when things get tense, you know exactly when to soften, when to hold firm, and when to walk away without a single raised word. As Machiavelli said, a prince must learn how not to be good when the situation demands it. In other words, you don't always have to be nice, but you must always be in control. Trait 5. You don't fear her emotions, you lead them. Most men are scared of women's emotions. They avoid confrontation or try to match her fire with more fire. But the emotionally dominant man, he leads her feelings by leading his own. She can cry, yell, storm, accuse. You don't collapse. You don't retaliate. This is the final trait, the hardest, the most powerful. You can walk away without chaos, without regret, without turning back. That moment always comes. The energy shifts. The values no longer align. Something breaks. And while most men lash out, blame, try to win the breakup, you don't. You accept. You grieve in silence. And then you move forward. Calm, clean, clear. You don't burn bridges. You don't seek revenge. You don't stalk her social media. You walk away like a man. And nothing terrifies a woman more than that, because it proves she never owned you emotionally. You were there by choice, not by addiction. And when the moment came, you stepped away not out of weakness, but out of principle. That's what makes you unforgettable, because most men stay attached. But you rise, not with noise, but with dignity, closing, calm, grounded authority. You don't need to raise your voice to be respected. You don't need to beg to be loved. And you definitely don't need to play games to be remembered. What you need is stillness, a mind you command, a heart you understand, a presence you control, because when you master your emotions without suppressing them, when you move with clarity, not reaction, you become something most people never expect, a force, not loud, but felt, not predictable, but precise, not cold, but disciplined. And in a world addicted to emotional chaos, that kind of presence, it changes the game. You don't just enter the room, you anchor it. You don't just attract, you disturb. You don't just love, You lead. That's what women crave. That's what men respect. That's what makes you dangerous, in the most disciplined way. So don't aim to be liked. Don't aim to be chosen. Aim to become grounded, sharp, present, focused. Because the man who masters himself doesn't just rise, he reigns. If this message hit something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment below, even just one line. It helps you remember it, and it might help someone else. Hit like, share this with a man who needs it, and keep building the mindset that can't be broken. This is Soul Speaks, and you just took one step closer to becoming untouchable.